What's good, Liberators? Fingers here, and this is Dx2 Demon Review, and today we are talking about the Green Ranger, the blade that soars, much like the Taliban will now soar with their new Predator drones, courtesy of the United States government. The Dragon, Koga Saburo. And let's get into this brand spanking new demon of guest design. Koga Saburo, a legendary figure from the story of Suwa Engi of the Shintoshu, a collection of stories of gods. He wandered into the underworld and eventually made it back to the surface, becoming a snake in the process. He was eventually worshipped at Suwa Shrine as Suwa Daimyojin. This story is believed to be a variation on Take Minakata of Japanese lore. In that version, as Take Minakata, he subjugates Mishaguchi, much like the ladies have subjugated my but then is defeated by Take Mizaguchi. He flees overseas where he transforms into the snake god there before finding his way back to Suwa. Okay, pretty cool. I've never heard about this guy up until now, but then again, there are a lot of deities and myths and legends that I've never heard about outside of Shin Megami Tensei. And as we can see from the stats, this guy is a fine addition to your speedster team. I mean, that strength, nothing to snap at. 216 off rip, pump that up to 236, cap it out at 256. Old boy will be hitting pretty hard at that point. Fantastic. Magic stat, don't bother looking at it. Useless. Vitality is a problem. As we all know, especially those of us who run Speedster, we get a lot of those cheap shot demons out there. You got your Moirai Sisters teams. A well-built Atropos can hit for, I've seen them hit for upwards of 1900 damage with the double tap, with which each of her hits she's doing 950 sweep damage to your team, and she's wrecked some of my lesser demons. You got your Kardikeas who don't have a lot of HP, your Shiroshis don't have a lot of HP, and your Koga Saburos do not have a lot of HP, especially if you have them in the basic bitch variety without that first and third panel giving you that extra 500 HP. As we can see here, even with an extra 10 I threw in there from Itama's and Vitality, he only has 1136 HP, which is an issue and something you are going to have to work around because Moirai Sisters are still out there. Dimensional certs they abound, and they're going to one-shot him into oblivion unless you are prepared. And for his other defining feature, perhaps the defining feature, is that agility stat, 237 off rip. Pump that up to 257, making him one of the fastest boys in the game. And for that, we love him, and for that is the reason I pulled upon him, because as any of you who have watched this channel for any measurable length of time may realize, I am a big fan of Speedster physical teams, if only that I have very little patience and I like my battles to be over within 20 seconds or less. And he's got pretty decent luck, 159. Honestly, if I had this guy panel 3, I would probably swap out that 10 in Vitality for the luck to help with that critical rate. He is weak to ice, be aware, resists electricity, doesn't matter, repels wind, force, doesn't matter, nulls darkness, doesn't matter, and we all know why. Skills for the transferable, the Dragon Sense, thematically appropriate, plus 15% to physical hit rate, much needed when we get into his special skill, you will see why, and plus 15% to physical evasion rate, very cool, both very useful things in PvP all around. And for his first unique skill, the Dragon of Defense, adds physical pierce, booyah, plus 20% to physical hit rate. Double booyah, especially since he's got the Dragon Sense, giving him that plus 15% to physical hit rate, which is essential for his special skill. So that brings us to a natural 35% physical hit rate. Also, activates the following chain effect when attacking first at the beginning of a battle. Increases own party's evasion and accuracy, and reduces enemy evasion and accuracy, giving him an extra 20% to his accuracy and nerfing the enemy's evasion by 20%. Booyah! Very thematically appropriate. If you're a fan of the Speedster physical team, as I am, this is great. And running him with Hiro Masakato, while it might seem slightly redundant to have someone who's putting the Secunda and the Tsukakaja on, and you got Hiro Masakato who does Kuyu Flash, which also does that particular debuff, both those debuffs. Enemies have auto skills, and I have lost battles before because they had an auto Tsukakaja up, and Kuyu Flash only brought them down to baseline, and Secunda was not on, and it allowed them to dodge one of my attacks, get the one round they needed to counterattack, and slap my paper physical speedster team into oblivion. So, fantastic, great stuff here. And this operates as in a dual capacity, which as well as Hiro Masakato's Kuyu Flash. We're having Tsukakaja up and Secunda on your enemy. It operates in a defensive capacity just as much as an offensive capacity, as many of you have probably seen in action where you've got just your enemies whiffing away at you. And when you're going up against an AI defensive team who doesn't know any better, and they're just going to throw out that physical sweep skill with reckless abandon, even though they've got no accuracy to back it up, it can be a tide turner, it can be a game winner, give you that one extra round you need to finish the fight. And for his second unique skill, the Soaring Blades, inflicts force physical damage 4 times with a power of 40. So taps 4 times, power 40 for a total of 160 damage. Doesn't seem like much, but with a 50% crit rate on a single enemy. So tap, 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 50% critical hit rate, you're critting, okay? Even if you don't have any extra critical tertiaries on him, you're not running him with Kartikeya or Asa or Lord who increases your critical hit rate, he's going to crit one of those. So you're going to get the half press turn no matter what, assuming you don't whiff, which is why those accuracy passives he has earlier are so important, which is why that Secunda Tsukakaja auto buff he puts on is so important, because if you whiff one of these, it's going to kill you, especially in PvP. And activates the following chain effect when the attack is successful. Inflicts force physical damage 2 times with the power of 50, with a 50% crit rate on all enemies. So let's do some simple math. That is one enemy taking 260 power worth of damage, and everyone else on their team is taking 100 power worth of damage with a 50% crit rate, which is happening. And if you whiff on if he chains, his chain effect goes off and it misses one of the more slippery demons, you will not lose a press turn, no harm, no foul. And actually, this is a great way to test out if those Angras, if those Demiurges in the group are built for evasion, because those two little bastards have caused me some problems. So it never hurts to know whether they are hyper evasively built, because they can be very, very annoying to deal with. But with him, you get the luxury of picking your target. You pick the targets that are historically known not to be terribly evasive. You know, you can go after your Daisujos, your Moirei sisters, and reliably you're going to hit them, because generally speaking, they're not the evasive batch of demons. But we've all seen the Angras, we've all seen the Demiurges who were built for evasive purposes, and you can avoid them. And this is great because if someone running a Demiurge, generally speaking, there's a Fizz repeller drainer on that team. And that's what kind of holds you back. It forces you to target Demiurge first and foremost in order to be able to sweep the rest of the team, whatever else you got. With Koga Saburo, you've got the option of a force attack instead of a physical one, and less people are defending specifically against force as they are physical. Physical is far more common, so everyone seems to go out of their way to have a physical repel, physical drain in order to counter the physical teams. Trust me, as someone who runs physical teams, I know this is what people do, and it makes sense overall. I think you know what I'm saying to be true. This skill has Force Pierce. Should mention that. I really got to stop going off on these huge tangents before finishing or reading the skill. So yes, he has Physical Pierce, naturally, and Force Pierce exclusively on this skill. So if you transfer Mazandine over to him or something like that, it's not going to have the Pierce effect, only Soaring Blades. But as with his Origami archetype, which I believe gives him Vorpal Blade will have a Physical Pierce, which makes it something to consider in that regard. Power this bad boy up, another 20% to damage, and -1 MP cost for the skill. Naturally costs 6. You can lower that to 5, meaning, assuming there's no Undead Alice sucking MP out of you, you can pop off turn 1, which, as we speedsters know, is essential to the cause. I have him in the Psychic archetype. I gotched him in the Elementalist archetype. Quickly swapped him over to Psychic for the Force Amp plus 25% Force damage. You all know what that does. Fantastic. As for the transferables, Speedster. Give this boy Speedster. I think this is kind of a requirement for him. You're running him Speedster. Super fast. Only 256 agility, was it 257 agility? Yeah, give him Speedster. You're going to get a lot of bang for your buck in that regard. Epitome of Swiftness, also good. Get him with something that cranks up that speed. And for the transferable, I gave him Forced Boost only because I do not have Force Survivor. If you have Force Survivor, that would be a great, possibly best in slot transferable for this guy. As we discussed before, his HP, not great, and giving him just that one endure to survive a Moiray Sisters cheap shot on a Dimensional Cert cheap shot will be invaluable, and it will win you battles. So these are the things I would strongly recommend you consider. As for brands, I'm going to try him out in PvP at first with War Brands and Aim Brands, only because I have him in the basic bitch variety, as you can see from these panels here. Had I had him paneled up, I would probably be going for Speed Brands, potentially Divine Brands. If I were running him on a random team, Divine Brands are highly recommended / you should really consider them, because there are still boatloads of Undead Alices out there, and if old boy here cannot use Soaring Blades turn 1, you're gonna have some problems. He's got to be able to hit first turn, or you're gonna run into some issues there. But for now, I'm gonna take him up for a PvP. I've played with him a little bit in PvP right now, but I haven't randomized with him, so I'm gonna take him up for a test drive with this. We'll see how he does. But if you got him paneled up, Divine Brands, Speed Brands, probably you want to lean in that direction. As for the panels, panel 1, 15% to physical hit rate. We discussed how important having a multi-hit attack that can miss. It can crit, it can miss. Having that accuracy locked down is paramount, so this is great. But I would recommend you go for panel 2 off rip if you are so inclined to bulk this guy up, to build him up, plus 30% to own effect on battle speed, and increases the use of Soaring Blades by 3. You only really need the first part of this. Okay? You can only use Soaring Blade 3 times. But if you're running a proper speedster team, you're only going to be using it twice, 3 times at the very most. Because everything's going to be dying turn 1. And odds are, if you got a good speedster team going, you're making the most out of your press turns, a couple of your demons, if not all of them, are going twice in that first turn. So you really only need 2 uses of Soaring Blades to vanquish most enemy teams. And again, he's got physical pierce naturally and a great strength set, so his basic attack can, you can finish people off in a pinch. And if you're at the point where you've already used up 3 of your Soaring Blades, odds are one attack is gonna finish the fight. It's gonna seal the deal. But the real prize here, 30% to own effect on battle speed, cannot be understated how important that is. Just, there are so many speedster teams out there. It's very, very common. And when you outspeed the speedsters, it's an instant win. At least 99% of the times. I've been outsped before and had the speedster team just have such a pathetic offense that they couldn't even knock my paper team down, which I can't help but chuckle at. But still, this will probably win you more fights than Panel 1 will. Just being able to outspeed the speedsters, free win, go on, take the points, get a move on. And Panel 3, the big mammoth jamma, plus 20% to physical and force damage, booyah! And plus 20% to critical hit rate, as if having a 50% critical hit rate built into your weapon, it wasn't devastating enough. Adding that to it, he's guaranteed to crit at least on one of those 4 things. And yeah, of course you want him to crit on all 4 for maximum damage, but mostly you want that half press turn. That's the real money when it comes to critical hits. Critical hits are great because they allow you to get a half press turn off of any demon. You don't have to rely on them having a weakness and you having that particular element. You can just crit, half press turn, booyah. So awesome, fantastic. And although you're already pretty much set up with his natural Soaring Blades, 50% crit rate, having that all the better. That's really more, it will increase your overall damage rather than securing that half press turn icon from getting at least 1 crit. Because come on, 50% crit rate, we're talking 4 times. Do the math. You're going to have to roll some real bad numbers 4 times in a row for that not to play out. And that's assuming you don't have any critical tertiaries on your brands or other demons assisting with his crit rate like Kartikeya and Asura Lord. And to wrap it up, let us check out his other archetypes and see what options we have. For the Origami, we have Vorpal Blade physical sweep damage with a power of 140. Hey, this one, PvP, this carves you up. This is bad news if you get slapped with one of these. He has physical pierce. He has an innate physical pierce, so this plays. You get it at the reduced MP cost, 6 MP. So, hey, it's an option. Why you would use it over Soaring Blades, that is a debate for scholars and philosophers to have. But there, he's got the Fizz Pierce. This is an option. If for some ungodly reason you're planning on using him for longer, drawn-out battles, and you don't have a second panel, which gives him 6 uses of Soaring Blades, this something to consider because he's going to run out of Soaring Blades, but I just don't see why you would. But hey, he does have physical pierce. For the Protector archetype, Solar Prosperity activates the chain effect when attacking first at the beginning of battle, increases own party's attack and evasion and accuracy by 20%. For 1 turn. Now this perplexed me, and it's like, okay, I get it. He already automatically gives you evasion and accuracy buff with his natural skill set. Automatically does Secunda in his natural skill set. So all this provides you is that attack buff to go along with it. And I can only imagine there's better uses for this skill slot of his, because I'm going to be running him with Hiro Masakato. Hiro Masakato is going to be giving us that attack buff. And while it will be nice to have the double attack buff to ensure that we always have that 20% attack bonus, enemy teams having auto Torunda, putting into the negatives, then you double up, come back on. But wait, even then this doesn't play, because we got a speedster team. If you are running speedster team, you go first, your auto buffs apply first. Your whole team will do their auto buffs. So yeah, okay, so hey, he throws up, You know, just throws up Solar Prosperity, you get that attack buff, and then an Auto Tyrande comes, boom, you're right back down to baseline. So it's a little wonky. I don't really like it all that much. So I would say pass on the Solar Prosperity. And if you're running him on a Speedster physical team or any kind of Speedster team, odds are you've got Auto Tarakaja somewhere in the mix already. Like I said, I've got my Hero Masakato providing that buff with his first attack. So that's what I'm going to run with for now. And for the Psychic Archetype, Force Amp, as we discussed, plus 25% to Force damage, which, boom shakalaka, love it. And for the Elementalist Archetype, Drain Electric, which I believe turns his electric resistance into a drain. And, okay, if you're going to run him with Demiurge, he has both a drain and a repel. Great. You know, can work as a counter to a Moiray Sisters team, I suppose. You know, you can avoid one of Atropa's cheap shots, assuming you're running him with Rama or Demiurge. So that's a pretty narrow scope, though. So I'm not feeling it. So once again, Elementalist Archetype, get fucked. And that about wraps it up for this new guy, this new kid on the block. I'm going to take him out for a few more test runs in PvP. I'll probably do a video on it, even though Reika has already done so, because he is some kind of sociopathic automaton that doesn't sleep and is fueled by the tears of his vanquished enemies. I will link his PvP video down below, because it's a good example of what this bad mamma Jemba can do. Have a good one, Liberators. Don't get captured.